What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Packers Report. My name is Joey Petersen. It's a Wednesday, so that means Matt LaFleur spoke to the media before the Packers practice today, and he gave some great news and some news that's going to be incredibly impactful as the Green Bay Packers round out the 2025 season, and that is that Lukas Van Ness will be back at practice today. And I promise you, this is much bigger, and this is a much bigger deal than a lot of people realize. That a lot of people are going to give this credit for. People are just going to say, okay, Lukas Van Ness is back. That's probably not going to do too much. And I argue the exact opposite. It's been an up and down season for him so far in 2025. Started off really, really hot. However, week 6, sacking Joe Flacco, suffered a foot injury. That sidelined him for the rest of that game, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then he worked his way back to playing into week 12 against the Vikings. Unfortunately, that might have been a little bit too early. Only played in 6 snaps and then has not been back since. But let's talk about the first 5 games he played before getting injured against the Bengals. 1.5 sacks, 14 quarterback pressures, and a quarterback pressure rate of 13.7%. All of those metrics tracking to be career highs for him in year 3 of his tenure with the Green Bay Packers. But to me, it's not just the presence of Lukas Van Ness that I'm excited to get back. Now, sure, I think he could be impactful just with his presence alone, but in my opinion, it's what he does for others on the field, what he does for others on that defensive line. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that coming up, okay, what his presence on that defense, on that front four means to just all the guys that are on there with him, especially when we talk about Rashan Gary. I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about in just a second. But make sure you're subscribed. It's Week 15. Massive matchup on Sunday. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be a ton of fun. As you know, sub-battle, Week 15 against the Broncos breakdown. Right now, we're down pretty big. 36 subscribers. They got 33%, just roughly more than we do. But that's not that's not too big of a deficit. So I need you guys to help me out. Subscribe to the channel. Let's beat the Broncos breakdown in this Week 15 sub-battle. Hopefully that means we'll beat them on the field on Sunday. So let's throw it back to week 1. Do you remember that in the 7 plays that Micah Parsons, Lukas Van Ness, and Rashan Gary all played together in week 1, Green Bay allowed just 6 yards. 6 yards total. That's it. And the 7 snaps, all 3 of those guys were on the field. And even when they weren't on the field, having more fresh bodies, having a guy like Lukas Van Ness to rotate in that defensive line, which needs it right now, let's be honest. A lot of injuries on that front four. That's going to be big too. But let's talk about Rashan Gary. Let's clue in on him a little bit more. Has anybody else noticed the Rashan Gary disappearance? I don't know if you guys watch Stranger Things, but it feels like Rashan Gary is just living in the upside down over the last couple of weeks. Well, I think a big reason for that is no Lukas Van Ness. And the stats lay that out for you perfectly. With Lukas Van Ness, in the 4 games they played together before injury in week 6, Rashan Gary had 17 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 12 quarterback pressures, and 12 run stops in 4 games. And in the 8 games since that, he's only had 6 more tackles. He has less tackles for loss, less sacks, more quarterback pressures. That one stayed pretty consistent, but barely more stops. It's not even close, Rashan Gary's production with and without Lukas Van Ness. Rashan Gary put up better numbers basically in 4 games than he has in 8 since he's been sidelined. Now, I will say, I want to temper expectations a little bit. I would be surprised if he plays this week against Denver. He could, and if he did, that would be awesome. I would be all for that. But honestly, I would just love to have him back against Chicago. I don't want to rush into things like you did against Minnesota where he played 6 snaps and then he got hurt again and sidelined for the rest of the game and the next 4 weeks. You got some big games coming up to round out the season. You're going to need Lukas Van Ness. You're going to need him as healthy as he can get. And you're definitely going to need him against that Chicago team, okay? Because that game is absolutely massive. Right now, you got a 68% chance to win this division. If you beat Chicago, that goes up to 91%, almost locking it down. But if you lose, that goes down to less than 40%. Now, those percentages will change based on the outcome of Sunday's game. But we all know division games, especially against teams that are right behind you in the standings, they mean a little bit more. So I would love to have Lukas Van Ness against Denver, but I need to have him against Chicago. You think he'll play against the Bears? Let me know down below in the comment section. Give me a yes or a no. Weigh in with your answer. Don't go anywhere. Christian Watson, that's what's coming up next. He's been an absolute menace, okay? The dude's been unbelievable, especially from one certain spot on the field. I'm going to tell you about that in just a couple of seconds, and then we're going to round this thing out with who has the edge. Denver Broncos. We'll go position group by position group. But before we get into that content, make sure you check out our awesome sponsor, our great friends over at Underdog. It's football season, right? It's in full swing. And Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Let's cut to the chase. If you use our promo code Packers Report, you score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Here's my Underdog lineup for Sunday's game. If you checked into last game's Underdog lineup, I went 3 for 3. We're going to keep the hot streak going. I get the higher on Josh Jacobs, 2.5 receptions. Higher, Jaden Reed, 2.5 receptions. And go ahead, Evan Ingram, I think his longest reception is going to be higher than 11.5 yards. Download the app today and use promo code Packers Report. Score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code Packers Report. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing-good-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Christian Watson has been unbelievable this season. Okay, I think we all were excited to get him back in the fold, but I don't think any of our expectations were incredibly high because we knew he was, by the time he came back, only 9 months removed from having a major injury and major surgery onset injury, and he plays the wide receiver position, right? Position where you got to cut a lot. You got to be fast. It's hard to do that 9 months removed from an ACL tear. Well, he's been tearing things up, especially when you look at what he's done in the slot. Really, really cool metrics I saw today. 12 targets in the slot, 9 catches, 193 yards. That's averaging about 20 yards a catch from the slot. 3 touchdowns and yards per route run. Not yards per target, yards per reception, yards per route run from the slot. 3.33. Like, I cannot say good enough things about him. And I think it's fun having an offensive-minded head coach that is having fun with wide receiver. Putting Christian Watson anywhere he wants to. Obviously, people look at the size of Christian Watson. They automatically think outside wide receiver. They don't realize how good he is when you put him on the inside. Or just how good he's been in general, frankly. We always know he's a yards per catch guy. Same exact thing this season, 18.1. Second in the NFL among qualified receivers. Yards per game, 14th. Top 15 in the NFL, 64.6. Touchdowns per game, second, 0.8. Only behind Devontae Adams. If you've been disappointed in Christian Watson, you haven't been watching football, okay? Just plain and simple. Show Christian Watson some love. The real 9. That's good stuff, Gage. Spam those 9s down below in the comment section to show him that you see him, you recognize him, and you know that he's balling. Let's talk about who has the edge. We're going to start with the head coaching spot. I'm going to give this edge to the Broncos. Now, I do believe that Matt LaFleur has done an unbelievable job over this last 4-game win streak. A lot of credit to him. However, I think Sean Payton's the better coach out of the two, right? I don't think there's much debate on that. Matt LaFleur's been good. Sean Payton's got his team on a 10-game win streak. Quarterback, Green Bay. Not much debate here. Bo Nix is good. He's good for Sean Payton. He's limited, though, okay? And one thing we've seen about Jordan Love this year, he is anything but limited. In fact, I think he's easily the 3rd best quarterback in football, probably only behind Drake May and Matthew Stafford. And you can even make an argument that he's been one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL this season. Running back, I'm going to go Green Bay as well. I think this is the Broncos' biggest weakness is their lack of ability to run the football consistently. And I know that's kind of been the same thing for Green Bay, but if you're just taking running back skill level, person for person, give me Josh Jacobs any day of the week. Wide receiver room, I'm going to go Packers as well. Although I think Denver's is a lot better than people originally thought it was going to be going into this season. The way that Christian Watson's been playing has been unbelievably impressive. Jaden Reed's back in the fold. Romeo Doubs can hurt you every now and then. Dontavian Wicks still waiting on Matthew Golden. I would give the edge to the Packers. Offensive line, I'm going to give it to the Broncos, though, and this one's not even necessarily close. I think Green Bay's been very improved in their offensive line and their front five, but, man, Denver as maybe the best offensive line in football. They also probably have the best defensive line in football as well. I'm going to give them the edge when it comes to that line or that group. Really, really impressive. Lead the NFL in sacks, second in sack percentage. They're like fourth in quarterback pressure rate. They've just been unbelievable. Linebackers, I'm going to give the edge to the Denver Broncos as well. I think Dre Greenlaw is one of the most underrated linebackers in this football, in this league. And then safeties, I'll give that edge to the Packers. I love how Evan Williams has been playing this year. I love how Xavier McKinney's been playing this year, obviously. And probably the biggest weakness when you look at position groups for Denver's defense, even though there's not a lot of weaknesses with that Vance Joseph group. And then cornerback, I'm going to go with the Broncos as well. Look, they have the best cornerback in football. Last year, he was the best defensive player in football, and Patrick Surtain. So that one's going to go to those in Mile High. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you got me followed on socials, Twitter, Instagram, same handle, both platforms, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Daily videos right here on the Packers Report. We're trying to get to 20,000 subs as quick as we can. Need you guys to help us and join us today.